Welcome, everybody, to the Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, along with multi-year national champions A.J. McCarron and Trent Richardson. I'm Chris Stewart. Glad to have you with us. New episodes of our show dropping every week, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you happen to get your podcast. If you're looking for the show, just go to thedynastybama.com. At The Dynasty Bama is where you can check us out across social media. This week on the show, the start of fall camp for the Alabama Crimson Tide. It's coming up this week, and just how open the SEC happens to be this season. Why does it feel like it's more up for grabs than it may normally be? We're going to get AJ's top quarterbacks in the league, and we're also going to wrap things up today by talking about a few tales from a title run, most of which are true. Guys, how's everybody doing? Ready to go? Start of fall camp. Do y'all automatically start getting sore just thinking about the start of fall camp? Worn out? What is it? It's 1,000 degrees. So, AJ, it must mean football time, right?
Oh, 100%. Listen, this was always a special time of the year because, even when we first got there, like, all right, now it's ready. It's time to go. I mean, you start sweating just thinking about it. The nerves start hitting you. It's going to be long days of practice, long nights of meetings. Like, um, these kids have it a lot easier from not having the two-a-days that we had early in our career. Um, I know there's a lot more rules and regulations now, but I still remember those long camp hours and having some night practices thrown in there. I mean, it's just a grind, right? So it's an awesome time of the year. It just lets you know football's ready to go.
First week's fun or exciting. I know weeks 2 and 3 can be a little tougher, but this is the time everybody's pretty much ready to get out there, aren't they?
Yeah, man, that first week, man, is something special to me. I can remember like just even smelling the grass, like you just know it's something different.
Yeah.
It's something in the air. But that first night is gonna be a long night because you can't sleep when you're a rookie coming in. And I'm as a freshman, right? Because you don't know what to expect for real. You see these guys playing on TV, and now you're trying to fit in. You're trying to be one of those guys, and so yeah. And when you get to the next level, they call them practice All American. So you trying to go in there and be a practice All American.
Right.
And so that's just how it is, man. You trying to earn a spot. You trying to be accepted. You're trying to be one of the guys. So, just this time of the year, man, is different. And nobody's on campus except for the athletes for real.
Yeah.
And so, just going into camp is just like, man, like, is it other people around? Like, hello, what's going on?
And you talk about trying to be accepted among your teammates, even more so now with all the turnover that takes place. Used to be you talk about freshmen when you're talking about accepted by your teammates. Well, now you may come in as an all-league player from somewhere else, and you're joining a group, you're joining a roster. Uh, that can be a little bit of a challenge too, because I think you got to humble yourself a little bit, don't you, AJ? If you're coming from somewhere else, even if you've already built up pretty impressive resume.
Oh, 100%. Listen, I mean, it's the good thing is a lot of these transfers have, been there for a good amount of time with all the portals that are open and whenever you can transfer, and you can transfer 9 million times in your 4 or 5 years of college. But yeah, I mean, the resume you have can only take you so far, from another place. And then when you get to this new school, it's about work ethic, not so much leading from a vocal standpoint, but from a work ethic standpoint, like seeing guys or letting guys see how you go about your business on a day-to-day process. So um, it's a good time to, you know, get your name out there and really show your teammates that you're going to be here day in and day out.
Let's talk about what you're trying to get accomplished right now. Trent, What's the most important thing? And for this Alabama team, what are they trying to get done early on in camp?
Um, Really to just, building that chemistry. Like and guys are trying to earn spots. So I can remember when it was me and Mark, or really my freshman year, it was me, Mark, Eddie Lacy, Upchurch, Terry Grant, Demetrius Gould, Big Griff. It was a lot of us, you know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah,
had to do whatever I can. And you start, I don't care where and this is when we was playing. If you come in as a transfer, we might have had one or two come in as transfers, and that was the Mins, and we had a guy from Tennessee. Well, he came in from a JUCO, and we
mhm,
had a guy from Tennessee transfer and actually passed in the spring, but he had earned his stripes. But you start at the bottom of the barrel. I don't care if you coming in as a 5-star. Everybody's a 5-star. Everybody's All American. So you telling me that you think you finna just come in here and just run Rolando McClain out the stadium, right?
Mm,
Not happening. And he's gonna make sure that young pup, this ain't high school. And so, building that like that mindset that hey, I can play with these guys or I'm just as good. It's a big one. Trying to learn the offense. Like we work games through the week. Like we are already be playing like Mississippi State, right? We already be playing Texas, or we already be playing Ohio State. Wherever we got on the schedule, it's already practice for that week or those few days that we are practicing on that game
right.
week.
Always curious, organizational standpoint, AJ, how do y'all go over, all right, guys, this is where your group's going to be on the field. And I realize I may be asking an elementary question, but I would imagine teams are doing things differently. So it's day one. I know that's part of, they used to bring freshmen in early, like a week early, just to show them where to go and how to do that type stuff. So it wasn't completely, they weren't completely lost when the veterans came in the next week. What is that basic teaching part of it like before you really get into the football aspect of it?
yeah, I mean, look, Cochran usually did most of that, right? Like he would go over, hey, this is where Bama Jacks, this is where you're going to line up. Um, but I also think there's a little element to it to where the coaches don't want to probably tell you everything because they want to see you scramble a little bit, right? Like they want to put you in some situations where it's like, oh shit, where am I going? Like, what am I
Yeah,
doing? Like they just want to see you move, and that was our deal. Is like, hey, I don't care what you're doing. Like we're moving fast, and so
right.
especially during camp, so you're always just on the go. Um, but now's the time to put you in some tough situations. I think this time of the year is one where you truly create your identity and you establish that early in camp. Hopefully you did that during the spring, but now you're truly setting your identity as a team. You're building upon that, and then you also, like Coach DeBoer has said multiple times in multiple interviews, um, we need to put ourselves in big game situations, right? Because if there's one thing that we didn't do well last year was the big moments. So we need a 2-minute drill every day to where we have to go down and it can be, hey, we have a minute 30, we got to go 80 yards with one timeout. Like we need to put ourselves in tough situations to see if we can be successful. And let's keep practicing that. He's talked about reps and reps and reps. So keep doing that. So when that time comes during the year and you're at Neyland Stadium or wherever you're in Athens, like and there's a tough situation, you got to go down and score to win the game or tie the game, whatever the case may be. Like it's second nature to you. And that's the biggest key for me as a quarterback in camp.
Trent, the quarterback battle is something everybody's going to talk about. If it's an established starter, they're going to talk about who's the backup in that competition. You know how that goes. But beyond quarterback, what other position battles do you really think are that important to settle before the team heads down to Tallahassee? Is it the O line rotation? Is it the running back rotation? Um, where is it? for you that you think has got to be settled before they get on that plane and head down to Tallahassee?
On the offensive side, um, besides the quarterback, man, it's for real. You got to know who's gonna be in those trenches. Like you got to know your offensive line, and that's probably coming from me as a running back. I mean, but even for me as a running back, I had to make sure my quarterback was protected, and I wasn't having to pick up every block that that leaked through that wasn't a linebacker.
Right.
So being able to have those guys in the trenches, I've been blessed. We was blessed to have a great O line, but we was blessed to have two great O line coaches. Probably the best coaches, O line coaches that's ever been around. Um, with Penders and I just messed up his name. Penders and who we had our last 2 years. I mean, your last
Well,
2 years.
yeah, you had Stout.
Stout,
Yeah.
Stout, and he's still doing his thing with Philly. I
Yep.
mean,
Right.
so getting those guys in the trenches, man, and then my junior year when we went to Stout, it was a different feel for those guys. They was used to Pruitt. They was used to his coaching style. So they didn't know, they was different for him. And so, even when, Alabama have so many coaches coming in and out, like you got to start developing some type of relationship with those players, with those coaches. I mean, if you got guys leaving out every year going to new jobs, it's hard to do.
Yeah. AJ, for you, where's the spot for Alabama that you got to get it figured out?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit of the running back situation. Just establishing Jam Miller or whoever's going to be main horse, and then finding a good rotation in that. The other one for me is the receiver room. Who's going to be able to step up? Because you're going to get Cloud, you're going to get doubled um, with Ryan this year, right? Uh, Seeing the other guys, Isaiah Horton step up, transfer from Miami, like is he going to be a guy that you can put out wide on the other side that's going to take pressure off of Ryan along with Bernard? And everybody knows I think Bernard's one of the most underrated guys in the SEC, but um, finding the group behind those guys, because if you want to go fast pace and everything, like and play up tempo like they have in the past, Coach DeBoer and Coach Grubb in Washington, you're going to have a room full of guys that can rotate in, and guys that tie trust on every route process and every play. So finding the other, you know, 2 to 3, maybe 4 guys in that room that are going to be able to rotate in and have the trust factor with Ty that you need to be successful.
Anything on defense for either one of you that stands out as far as what you got to find? I know they feel better secondary wise. It's got to be the same thing up front, though, isn't it? I mean, we talk trenches all the time, but that defensive front, I would think, is every bit as big and not necessarily question marks, but it's every bit as important as the O line.
They got to find a pass rusher, right?
Yeah.
They lacked last year. Defensively, they were great in the turnover battle. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I remember being at the Georgia game and it was just turnover after turnover. So, they got to find a dominant pass rusher this year, though, a guy that can put pressure on the quarterbacks. Um, I think they were towards the bottom in sacks last year in the SEC. So you got to find a way to put some more pressure on the quarterback without coming up with blitz packages and putting guys in tough situations in the secondary where we can just pay 4 guys down and we're going to play coverage and let these guys get after the quarterback.
How about for
I
you,
agree
Trent?
with you. Yeah, I agree with you, AJ. I mean, when the last time we had a defensive lineman go first round out of Alabama? I think it's Quentin Williams.
From an interior standpoint, they had the guy. Dadgummit. What's his name?
Stink's
Chris.
getting old, doesn't it, guys?
Yeah.
Stink's getting old.
Dude, we
They
had
start
this year
running
going the
together.
first round to Philly. that played like a jack.
Yeah, but I'm talking about a true lineman.
True, yeah,
Yeah, we
true
haven't
pass
had
rusher.
no.
It's been a minute.
We haven't had that in since Quentin Williams, and I think, um, but even looking at that, like we're known to have at least 2 guys every year that you well, I ain't gonna say 2. We had some dogs when we played, but them 2 was gonna get the business done. I mean,
Yeah,
Marcel wasn't even a starter. And that's so funny. He went
Yeah.
3rd pick, wasn't even a starter, and Terrence Cody was there, and Terrence Cody filled that gap, and then you had we had Zoe on the outside, Lorenzo Washington at defense end. Brandon Dedrick got shot on the Wednesday, played on a Saturday. Like we had some different cats, man. Like
mhm,
Eric Anders, which is a UCF fighter now. like we had some different cats, and they was ready to
Yeah.
go. And so like that pass rush got to be big. That's what won our Texas game for real. People don't realize that national championship run we had. That we had them big turnovers by Courtney Upshaw
Yeah.
and Eric at the end, and Marcel with the run back and all those other like that defense that year. That pass rush was so electric.
yeah.
Like we got to get back to that.
So I ask you about the position battle as we wrap up this segment. What goes really into deciding in preseason camp a position battle? What are coaches looking for? What decides it? What gets it done before you go into that opener?
Well, I mean, at first, it's I think the biggest factor in all of it is who can be the most consistent, right? And you got to be a consistent player day in and day out. You can't have the great highs for a day or two and then the lows just being at an all-time low, right? For a 2 to 3 day stretch. You got to be able to stack more positive days than you do negatives. Um, and then also from a battle mentally, um, is not letting the bad days or bad plays affect you and roll over into the next play or the next day, right? You got to be able to have short term memory in this game, especially the quarterback position, running back position. Like the guys that touch the ball almost on every play, it's got to be short term memory, right? So you got to be able to, hey, I messed up on that. Boom, let it go on to the next play. And if you can't do that, one, it messes with the self belief. Um, and then when your swagger or belief in yourself leaves you, it's hard to get back in this game. And because it's just such a grind day in and day out. So um, that for me, that's the biggest thing.
Trent, early, is it almost more important to find the guys that ain't going to get you beat as it is the guys that can make, and I guess it goes back to what AJ was saying with consistency. You may find guys that are highlight reel guys. They're going to make something happen, but it ain't always going to be good for your team. So you're trying to find guys early that that may not have the explosiveness of somebody else, but they're also not as apt to turn it over or get beat on a play. If you're talking about defense, is that a bigger factor?
Uh, yeah, finding the guys that won't let you get beat. That just got the mindset of man, we're not losing. Like I just can't take a L for the mindset. Like you got to,
Yeah.
and those are the guys like AJ saying are the most consistent. Those guys, and we have guys that's going to make plays. Like you said, and sometimes it might not be good for the whole team. But he might go make a great play and then give up a big one and then go make another great one, but give up 2 big ones. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I get that, but you gotta have those guys. You gotta have those guys that can contain the game, and only how that they beat us if we beat us. Like,
Right.
and so being consistent on that level is different, man. And if you can't find those guys, bro, it's hard to win in the SEC, and it's damn sure hard to make it to a national championship.
And I'll always believe the famous national championship game against Georgia when Tua came in the second half. That was a prime example of why Coach wanted to stick with Jalen as long as he did. We saw both in Tua. When you go back and really look at that second half, the touchdown pass to Devontae, the touchdown pass to was it Ruggs that caught the one that
He wasn't throwing it to him.
No, he wasn't. He
was throwing to the backline guy, and the ball would have been picked off if he didn't jump in front of it.
He was throwing it to Najee. That's my whole point. And really the sack before the touchdown
was a
prime
play.
example of why Coach was sticking with Jalen, because Jalen wouldn't have taken that loss. So, but when you're down and you got to roll the dice on it, it's a different deal. All right, guys, when we come back, we're going to talk about teams that can win the SEC this year and also get AJ's top 5 quarterbacks. It's the Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. At the Dynasty Bama is where we're asking you to check us out and please rate, share, review. We'd love to get your feedback, and also reminding you that new episodes drop YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get them. If you're looking for the show, just go to thedynastybama.com. Chris, AJ, Trent, back with you again. Guys, we're turning our attention to how open the SEC seems to be this year. We frankly liked it better when the discussion started with Alabama, and then you went for who was after that, or maybe Alabama, Georgia. But the reality is there are a bunch of teams that can win the league. Let's start with you, Trent. How many you got that you feel like legitimately have a chance to win the conference?
It's tough right now, man, because, we without Nick Saban, and people can't say Alabama or Georgia is going to, they're going to take the top of it right now. But I think it's an open door. So at least about 4 between Texas, Georgia, Bama, of course. I put Bama in there. I'm looking at Ole Miss. I'm looking at Ole Miss. I think Lane is doing a lot of stuff over there right now, and people sleeping on Ole Miss.
That's been said for years, though, hadn't it?
Yeah,
Lane's been doing a lot of stuff over there.
But Lane, listen, people sleeping on Lane right now. They are, and I've never been big on the Lane train until I see what you're doing over there. You're doing a lot of stuff right now. But I definitely think, when it comes to it, Texas, Georgia, Bama, I'm going back and forth with Ole Miss and I hate to say South Carolina. I don't see South Carolina winning it, but I feel like they can be a contender.
Yeah. They got VegasInsider.com has got their championship odds, AJ. It's Georgia plus 210. Excuse me, Texas plus 210, Georgia plus 390, Bama plus 7. Same thing for Tennessee. LSU at plus 1,000, Ole Miss at plus 1,000, A&M 1,600, South Carolina 1,800. Nobody else is even in the 2,000. So, which of those? Give me 3 out of those.
Well, I mean, for me, I think there's 5 teams. To be honest with you, I think.
All right.
Georgia. Their biggest thing is Gunnar Stockton, but Georgia has never been about the quarterback. It's about the other, 21 guys that he has out there.
Right.
So, but if Gunnar can play well enough, I think Georgia's elite, and has a really good shot of winning the SEC. Bama, young on offense or younger in some positions, can time manage, play well enough, and can their defense, step up this year and play well, since they're going to be the leaders of the team. The other one I have is LSU. Can LSU fix their defense? They've done a ton in recruiting. They front loaded their roster a ton from a NIL standpoint, to where they stacked all the money up and went in pretty heavily this year on defense. So I think they have the best quarterback in the SEC. My last 2 that are at the bottom that have a chance, I think, South Carolina, they lost 9 starters on defense. Can Coach Beamer get that defense going? Can Lenore stay healthy all year and they find a good rhythm on the offensive side? And then Texas. Texas is loaded. And the biggest thing with them is, can they win the big game, right? It's been Sark's knock for years now since he's been there is, oh, they can't win the big game. They lose a game during the season that they shouldn't lose. They almost lost to Vanderbilt last year. So eh, the other,
It'll happen.
yeah, I mean, it's just the last 2 that I think are outsiders looking in, but are loaded from a roster standpoint. Texas A&M, but everybody says that every year, but they are. They should have the best O-line in the country. And can Marcel Reed play better than he did the couple of flashes he had last year? He's got to throw the ball better for them. And then my sleeper is Florida.
I was
Can
thinking about that.
can DJ Lagway, play much better this year from a decision standpoint, a decision making standpoint, take care of the football, and can they find their rhythm? I think they have the toughest schedule in the country. But if they can win 10 games out of that schedule, I think they're the best team in the country. But or does it, they lose early and it goes downhill for Coach Napier and he's back on the hot seat, and then it's that talk for the rest of their team for the rest of the year. So it's um I think it's more open this year though, like you said, Chris, than it's been in a long time.
Are people sleeping on Georgia? And I know you were talking about them in the top 3 to 5, but they're 53-5 since the start of 2021, and 3 of those losses are to Bama. But is it one of those deals where they're semi-forgotten simply because they've been there so much? I don't know if that makes any sense or not.
100%. But that's what I said. Like it's never been about the quarterback there. Like in the past, I mean, Stetson Bennett. Like you look at the guys they've won it with. It's not been, a crazy QB play. Stetson's played really well when he was there. Excuse me, but it's about the other, 21 guys that are out there. And so, hell, their biggest thing in the past is, can they keep their kids from street racing and out of jail? Like, if they can do that, hell, there's no telling how good they could be. But they are more under the radar this year than they've been in the past. But listen, we all know Kirby Smart and their coaching staff. They got recruiters and they got money, so they're going to be fine.
So we got the portal, we got the NIL, we got college football playoff. Is it all those things that factor into it being more open, all of the above, or is there one in particular that you guys think is the biggest difference? Where you can have multiple teams winning it?
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, I think it's the retention of the roster. I said this, our last show. I think it's going to be guys that are coaches and programs that can retain as many players as possible year in and year out. And then your big pickups in the transfer portal are guys that aren't bad apples and guys that come in and buy into your process, right? And fit right in. I think that's the biggest thing because, in this transfer portal process, like you can fall in love with dudes on the field and watch their film and everything, but you're not spending enough time with these guys from the portal to where you know what type of person they are and what type of teammate they are, right? So you hear nothing but good things while they're at another school because these schools are going to do everything they can to not leak bad info on players. But when you get these guys in and you see, oh, this dude shows up late to meetings, he's talking shit about the coaches and the the scheme we're doing, and then he gets other guys on that. Like, you don't know. So, can you retain your roster and build an actual program like it used to be, and a brotherhood and a family? And then the dudes you do plug in for plug and play, are they good dudes?
Along those same lines, I saw a clip and I forgot where, but there was a podcast where they were talking to some of the legendary guys from UNLV under Jerry Tarkanian. And you guys are probably too young to have ever seen them when they were in their heyday, but I remember watching it. And I know you guys are basketball fans and you know that the Running Rebels were something back in the day. But Tark had a history of taking guys with kind of a shady past.
Mm.
Then the NCAA gets on him, and assistants are trying to get him to come and look at a guy who actually, I think, had been arrested in high school, but he's playing in a high school game, and that the assistants beg him, "Coach, come take a look at him." Said at halftime, the guy had 31 and 15,
Mm.
Hmm. Mm.
and Tark gets up and leaves. And doesn't say a word to the assistants, and they go out and they follow him in the parking lot, and he's getting in the car. "Coach, what's going on? What do you think?" He said, "I've seen enough. The kid's innocent. Sign him." So
But
so,
what's crazy though, I've seen Coach Saban do that. Like he'll watch a kid for 10 minutes, 5 minutes,
yeah.
he can play. That's what we're going with. And the last conversation that we really had, I ain't gonna say last, one of the last few conversations we had when I was talking about getting into coaching and stuff.
Mhm.
We went on the balcony, and it was a camp day. We went on the balcony, and we sit out there for 5 minutes and watch these kids work. It was like 2 or 3 of them, and he knew exactly which one from them running the route, like one route, what he wanted, and he was just like, "That's what I want." And I don't know about the other guy. He don't come out his break fast enough. Then he went and seen the DB and did the same exact thing. Like some people have that eye. Like it's crazy. Like when I seen Coach Saban do it, I'm like, yeah, he different. That's why he the GOAT.
All right. Sark said in the spring that we're probably never gonna see another undefeated national
Mm.
champion again. Do you guys agree with that? And do you think it's even possible, forget about undefeated, can you build a dynasty like Bama did when you guys were there? Nebraska way back in the '90s, Miami with its stretch. Is it possible to consistently be great again?
I don't want to say it's impossible because I think if some of these new rules from a collective bargaining and everything, if they can get the NIL under control from a true meaning of NIL, um, I think it from a TV contract standpoint, I think if anybody can do it, it's going to be a school in the SEC or the Big Ten that can get back to um, maybe what on the same path of what we had, Nebraska had. You look at Miami had a run, USC had a run, right, where they were in it almost every year, and hell, even Georgia.
Yeah.
Um, it's just it's harder now from that sense because you don't have the depth that in your roster that you've had in the past. I mean, when me and Trent were there, he talks about it all the time. Himself, Mark, Eddie, and then it goes on to him, Eddie. Uh, then you have TJ, Eddie, Kenyon Drake, Derek. Like, so the depth at every position back in the day, you could stack guys. Now it's impossible unless the money is still keeping them happy. But dudes want to play so early, and all they care about is playing early and the money as quick as possible. It's harder to build a true brotherhood and a true system. So,
Yeah.
um, I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's definitely tougher. And I agree with Sark. I think it's going to be really hard. Um, for schools to go undefeated to the national championship, just because. And also, I feel bad for these SEC schools. If I'm an SEC school, I'm not scheduling my non-conference games to be anybody big anymore until they change the system in the playoffs to where strength of schedule is the number one factor, right? Because all these SEC schools are like opening week. We're playing Florida State. You got
Texas playing Ohio State.
Texas playing Ohio State. You got
LSU Clemson, isn't it?
yeah, LSU Clemson. You got what I think Arkansas and Notre Dame are up there towards the front. Like non-conference games, I'm not scheduling anybody tough. There's
Right.
no reason to, right? Like Alabama playing Wisconsin, there's no reason to. Well, what's the good in it? It's not helping us. It's not doing anything from a strength of schedule standpoint. So my thought process would be going forward would be until you change the system on playoff rankings. I'm just going to make sure I'm undefeated in all my non-conference games, and I'm not going to play anybody tough because it doesn't matter. And then we'll worry about in-conference games. So,
Well, the truth is, non-conference, it's not non-conference, but strength of schedule is already so high for the SEC. Why do you have to add one more? I know everybody wants you to, but it's going to
But
be
that's
really
exactly what that's exactly what we've been saying
right.
early on in the shows, right?
Sure.
Like, why add a ninth or another
Why make it
SEC
easier
game?
for somebody else?
Yeah, and make it easier for somebody else. And then we still playing crossover games with different conferences. Like, we
Right.
open up every year with somebody big. First game or the second game, whatever it is.
Right.
We've been doing that for years. And that's where the blueprint came from with all these guys. You know, they playing these big time games now. Like, and that's where it come from. But my thing is, like, what AJ is saying, like, why would I go play a tough Ohio State week 1 and I gotta go play LSU, Bama, Georgia, Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, like all those guys, like we had what, six teams in the last week
the
that
top
was like
15.
top 15. Like, what other reason other than, okay, my strength or my schedule don't matter for the playoffs? Why would I play with y'all? Like, why would I risk? Why would I risk my season, my family, my boys, my team to go? And I know back in the day, you know, good are gonna play against good, go beat, you know, the baddest in the world. But everybody ain't playing against the bad against the world other than the SEC. I mean, I ain't gonna say other than the SEC, like the SEC every week.
Right. Guys, let's take our final break. When we come back, we're going to talk about AJ's top 5 QBs in the league, and we're also going to get some memories of that bounce back in 2011 when the Tide lost the game of the century, the one that didn't matter, and then turned around and won the rematch in the national championship game against LSU. That's coming up right here on the Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. If you're looking for our podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the dynastybama.com is the best place to go and just find all the hubs from there, but also hope that you will listen, rate, review all across social media at the Dynasty Bama. Final segment with AJ and Trent. I'm Chris. Guys, the top 5 quarterbacks in the SEC this year, AJ McCarron will be. Who you got? And why?
I think the best quarterback in the country, not only the SEC. At number 1, I got Garrett Nussmeier. Just
You
unbelievable
love
talent.
that dude.
Yeah, I think he's really good. I've been around him since, he was a young kid running around. I know his family, his makeup, like kid's an absolute gamer. At the 2 spot, I have Lenore Sellers. I think he showed a ton of promise last year. I think he's going hopefully get better throwing the football. His biggest thing is, can he stay healthy? He missed some time last year from running too much and injuries. So can he be healthy for the whole season? Um, Three spot for me was DJ Lagway, and I know a lot of people are probably gonna criticize that and want Arch Manning in there, but listen, I think we haven't seen enough of Arch. Do I think Arch can be at the top at the end of the year? Of course, I'm not saying he can't, but DJ has done enough, played enough games to deserve that spot. His biggest thing is going to be decision making, right? Can he not turn the ball over, and can he put Florida in situations to win the game? Four spot for me is Arch. Um, Listen, he, a ton of talent, super talented, just off the charts, being able to throw the ball, move. He's athletic. The kid just has so much hype behind him. I just don't know how you can live up to it. One, the last name is already hard to live up to, and then
First name's pretty tough too. Granddaddy
yeah,
was all
Yeah.
right.
yeah, and
Anybody can get on the phone and say my son ain't come to y'all NFL team.
yeah.
It's pretty big.
So I think him, and he's got to stay healthy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's got to be smarter about getting down. He got knocked out last year, coming in for Quinn on a run play. So him staying healthy. The 5 spot is open to a ton of guys. Um, it's Pavia, Austin Simmons from Ole Miss could be an absolute dude. He had shown flashes last year. Kid, lefty, can absolutely spin it. Um, Mateer from Oklahoma, there's a ton of hype behind him. That's going to be out there as well. A lot of dudes believe in him to be a really good one coming up. Kalen Green from Arkansas, can he be better in his decision making? Take care of the football. Super talented, big kid, athletic, can run. But he's got to be better from a decision making standpoint. And then Ty Simpson, I think Ty has a chance to be extremely good. You know, he has all the makeup to be an elite quarterback, right? So can he put these years of sitting, watching a ton of middle reps, along with last year, finally getting in at certain times and put it all together, take care of the football, and lead Bama to a SEC title season? And I think he can. So the top 4 are pretty established, I think, in this league. Um, the 5 spots open to a ton of guys.
Trent, any of those that you strongly disagree with, or are you firmly behind all those picks?
No, I'm behind him. I would switch DJ to 2. But I would definitely have my guy from LSU at number 1. DJ at 2. I would put Sellers at
Lenoris at 3.
3. I like Arch at 4. But I think Ty would be that guy that's gonna surprise everybody this year. The kid, like, man, listen, he's a thicker kid. The kid, he can run, he can throw it. Um, they believe in him, and like I said, when Coach said he throw a catchable ball, like that's what I needed to hear. But I think the ceiling for him is really high, like AJ said. I think he do have the tools around him to do it. But they got to coach it up. And these guys got to get open and catch the ball for him, and you got to
I,
be able to run the ball. So
I'm almost tempted to say at number 5, the Alabama quarterback, whoever that is, by season's end, because I'm with you. I think, and we know it's going to be Ty starting camp this week. But if the other guys are able to progress and take it from him, I don't think Ty's going to hurt himself. I really don't. We know injuries can happen and other guys have to step up, things like that. I think the position as a whole, guys, by the time we get to you get to November, I think you're going to feel really, really good about it, regardless of who's in that spot by then. May be wrong. That may be just
I
wishful
think
thinking on
Austin
my
Mack's
point.
the only guy that could Keelan Russell's too young. Everything I've heard from up there, he's just super talented, but it's going to take him a while to
Yeah.
catch on. Now, I've heard a ton of good about Austin Mack. So if whatever injury, God forbid, don't want it to happen to Ty, or he just struggles and loses that confidence that everybody says he has right now, I think Austin Mack will could be end up being that guy you're talking about.
Let's go back to 2011, guys, as we wrap things up this week. Uh, it would have been easy for you guys to have your confidence, to about you as a team, rattled after the hyped game, the game of the century, and part of all that hype. Was that the year that baseball went on strike? What was
Basketball.
or
It was a lockout.
basketball?
Mhm.
Okay. So,
Brown was at the game. D Wade and all them guys was at the
yeah,
game. It was crazy.
I knew there was a major league sport that was kinda down, and that helped to put all the spotlight on you guys and on that particular game besides what would have already made it the biggest game in college football. It was really the game in sports for that 2-week stretch leading up to it. But you fall, and you're a long shot. Everybody was acting outside the locker room like it was done, and you weren't gonna have a chance to win or even play for the Natty again. And I'm gonna pick it up just with the post-game locker room talk from the 9-6 loss because I remember it, and I'll let you guys take it from that moment and go on. But for me, I'm the sideline guy, and then I hosted Coach Saban's TV show. So my routine was coming into the locker room after the game, back of the room, listen to what he had to say, um, get one or two you guys after he broke huddle with all of you to do a couple of quick interviews, and then wait for him to go up and do his TV show. So I'm always in there. And it was my first year to do sidelines. And so it was my first time to be in that locker room after a loss. And when I say I couldn't wait to hear it, I was down like everybody else, but I was really curious to see what this was like because I knew most of the wins. It was congratulations, but here's what's next. You guys come in the locker room and coach starts talking about how proud he is of you guys. He goes, you guys got after it this week. You guys poured everything into it to get yourselves ready. We just made mistakes that we can't afford to make, and it got us beat. And we don't control our own destiny anymore, guys, but we still control what we can control. And he goes, we're going to go back to work on Monday. He goes, and I hate talking about this stuff. And I'm cleaning it up. I hate talking about this stuff. I hate talking about this stuff. But they got some tough games ahead of them. He goes, and there's some others. And he goes, we got a chance to be back in the mix. We don't control our own destiny, but we control what we control. And if you guys will go back to work, take care of business, clean up what we did wrong, we're going to get a chance at these guys again. And I don't know if you guys believed it. I know not many people outside the locker room believe that, but I remember distinctly him talking about how proud he was and changing kind of the narrative of you still got a chance. Somebody else is going to have to help now, but if you'll take care of your own business, you're going to get another chance. And a couple of losses that you had to have in front of you, and you playing a great game, AJ and Trent, you taking it to the house, baby, sealed the deal, and Alabama's national champions again. But you guys take it from that locker room going on to what got you to the national championship win.
Yeah, I mean, it I mean, you said it perfectly, and talking about coach's speech, I definitely remember parts of that, and I think the biggest thing for the rest of the year was taking care of the games that we had in front of us, um, winning them in a factor that showed we were one of the top 2 teams in the country, right? And then you had to have some losses by some people. The biggest one was, I remember, I think they played on a Friday night. We were all in the hotel, and it was Oklahoma State versus Iowa State. And Iowa State, I think, took them into overtime. Brandon Whedon threw a pick to start overtime, and then Iowa State ended up running it in for a touchdown in overtime to win that game. And everybody was up. I don't
In the
care who.
hotel, that thing
And
went off.
everybody stayed up late. Um, and when Iowa State ran it, you would have thought we won the national championship already. Everybody was out of their room. I mean, in the hallway going nuts. There, I think that was the only time I've ever seen Coach Saban stay there late, and he wasn't at his house, to where you could hear him come out of the hallway along with said, and he was probably waiting there because he maybe even came back. I've never asked Coach this. He might have even had said bring him back up to the hotel, and but I remember him. You guys ain't won shit. Get back in your rooms. We got a game to win tomorrow. Like, because everybody was celebrating, because we knew, like, hey,
Sure.
we beat Georgia Southern tomorrow, and then we go beat Auburn. We're right back in the mix.
Yeah.
And
Was that the
last thing
10
for
horn
me,
game?
do what?
Georgia Southern,
Oh
was that
yeah,
the 10 horn game?
yeah.
Okay.
Last thing for me was, I remember it was our banquet night. You know, we after we play Auburn, we're in Birmingham doing the banquet, team banquet, and that was the night they announced who's going to be in the national championship, and they brought in the LSU, I think, O lineman, and had him on for an interview. And when they told him that they were playing us in the national championship, he looked defeated. Like, and he said, like, "Oh, we shouldn't be playing them, but it is what it is. Like, we'll line up and go play them." But I mean, you could tell in his voice, like, this dude's the leader, the captain for him, and he knows he doesn't want to play us. Like,
Yeah.
it was going to be a long night, and it was awesome going down to New Orleans and taking that from him.
Trent?
Yeah, yeah, that was a crazy night
Iowa
when
State.
Brandon Wheaton threw that
Yeah.
up. Yeah, that. Listen, I can remember that. It was. Have y'all ever seen that Home Alone, the first one, when everybody's gone, but he started lighting up the place and he started putting people everywhere and playing the music?
Uh-huh.
That's how it
Uh-huh.
looked like for us. Like, we was in there dancing and doing all, like, you can see all that, right?
Yeah.
But man, just going back and just talking about that conversation Coach had with us, man. It to me, I was like, I was knocking my head around, man, because I knew what this meant for Tuscaloosa. We had a tornado earlier that year.
Yeah.
I knew what it meant for Bama Nation. I knew what it meant for the guys in the room. We lost a teammate, and so for me, like, I didn't want to let my guys down. And so I bumped my head so many times of what I could have done different, to put us in a better position. Hell, one of my brothers stopped going to my games because, like, he was like, "That's the first game I went to. That's the last one I'm going to." Like, yeah, like,
Ain't doing to you again.
yeah. But it was one of them things where it's like, man, like, how can we control this now? And listening to coach in that room, like, it gave us, like, all right, we hear you. But it was like, all right, coach, you might know something. You might know
Yeah.
something. And so, man, we just kept playing. Like, and we knew, like, to me, like, I don't feel like we got beat. Like, I feel like we lost that game. Like, we
Yeah.
left a lot of football out there too. A lot of people don't realize how much football we left out there. even in the national championship, like we left a lot of football out
Right.
there. And so to even get back in that game, man, I'm telling you, we took that with a stride because like I think that made us focus down a little bit more. And so listening to that guy when he did an interview, like he was shook. He was shook. We knew we had him. Even when they told the whole team in the meeting room who they had, and they were, oh, let's go. They wasn't for real.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not talking about them, but like we knew, like, and they knew, like, bro, like, y'all don't want to see us. Like, this is what we gave this to y'all. I ain't gonna say gave it to y'all. Yeah, we lost this.
Yeah.
And that's not taking nothing from them. And you know, a lot of people say that game don't matter. Nah, it did matter because that was a mark on our season.
They got
And so
the SEC
they
title
yeah.
that year.
And
They
that was
got the win.
part of our season. And so
Right.
that right there had a frog in my throat. I get chills even thinking about that game. Like, dang, that's one of those games that in your whole life you be like, man, that's that game that like, man, we shouldn't have lost that one.
Yeah.
I want that game back. And I had a chance. We had a chance to get that game back, and we did. And we
You
we
did
left
indeed.
that stadium in New Orleans, which is really a home game for them. We left that stadium, and it was our stadium when we left. And it was our Bourbon Street. It was our French Quarters. It was all that when we left. So, and that's not talking about them guys. That was a great team. Don't get me
It
wrong.
was.
Man, I spent the whole a week and a half with Honey Badger. Great guy.
Mm-hmm.
Great guy. He don't even like being called Honey Badger. I found that out there with Tyra. He don't even like being called that. Come to find out about his life story and all this, like being around those guys. Like it was different. Got to be around Claiborne a little bit more and got to meet him more and let him know, hey, we get back in this game. You know what it is, right? And they didn't know like how serious I am when I'm talking to them. Like, hey, you know what's gonna happen, right? Oh,
It's
okay.
coming.
All right.
Just like Tombstone. I'm coming. Hell's coming with me. Guys, so much fun. Really enjoyed it as always. Appreciate all of you. And again, please rate, review at the Dynasty Bamas, where you can find us on social media and the podcast at the dynastybama.com. We'll see you next week. For AJ, for Trent, I'm Chris. Roll Tide, everybody.